Every morning when you wake up, before the noise, before the doubts, before the world pulls at you, you have to speak to yourself. Because if you don't, the world will. And what it says won't always lift you up. So here are 9 things you must tell yourself every single morning. First, I am grateful. Gratitude is the soil where greatness grows. If you can't thank God, thank life, thank the air in your lungs, you'll never see the opportunities sitting right in front of you. Every single morning, the very first words you speak to yourself have more power than most people realize. Before the world gets a chance to tell you who you are, before circumstances try to dictate how your day will unfold, you have an opportunity to define yourself with self-affirmation. It's not just about repeating positive phrases. It's about programming your mind, conditioning your spirit, and aligning your actions with the person you want to become. The truth is, the way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you begin by telling yourself you are strong, capable, focused, and grateful, then you step into the world with strength, capability, focus, and gratitude. If you begin with silence or negativity, you leave the door wide open for doubt, fear, and distraction to creep in. Self-affirmation is not empty talk. It is a declaration of intention. It is the act of speaking truth into existence before it has fully materialized. When you say, I am capable, it doesn't mean everything is perfect or that you don't have weaknesses. It means you are choosing to focus on your strength instead of your limitation. It means you are deliberately refusing to let insecurity run your life. The words you plant in the morning become the seeds of your mindset, and over time they grow into habits, decisions, and ultimately your reality. Just as an athlete stretches before the game, you prepare your mind before facing the challenges of the day. Affirmations are mental warm-ups. They build readiness, resilience, and focus. Think about how the average day unfolds without intentional affirmation. You wake up, grab your phone, scroll through other people's lives, absorb their problems, their achievements, their noise. Within minutes, you are already reactive, already comparing, already caught up in a cycle of distraction. Now imagine a different approach. You wake up, sit up, take a deep breath, and speak directly to yourself. Today, I am grateful. Today, I am strong. Today, I will not quit. Instead of beginning the day in a state of reaction, you begin in a state of creation. You are creating the narrative, the energy, the mindset. And that difference changes how you face every obstacle, how you interpret every challenge, and how you carry yourself through every opportunity. Self-affirmation works because your mind believes what you tell it repeatedly. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between truth and lie. It simply absorbs repetition. That is why negative self-talk is so destructive. If every morning you tell yourself, I'm not enough, I can't do it, I always fail, your subconscious believes it, and your actions unconsciously follow that script. On the other hand, if you consistently tell yourself, I am capable, I am disciplined, I am built for this, even when you don't fully feel it yet, your mind begins to align with those words, and your actions slowly start to reflect them. Over time, repetition carves a new identity. What was once a phrase becomes a belief, and what was once a belief becomes your truth. This practice is not about ignoring reality, it's about shaping it. Life will always throw obstacles, disappointments, and setbacks. But your self-affirmations become the shield and the fuel that carry you through them. When you wake up and affirm, I will not quit, you are deciding how you will respond when the first challenge comes. You are setting your emotional thermostat. Just as a thermostat determines the temperature of a room, your affirmations determine the emotional climate of your day. If you set it high with confidence, positivity, and gratitude, even when circumstances dip low, you maintain control of your state of mind. Another powerful aspect of self-affirmation is gratitude. Telling yourself every morning, I am grateful, transforms the way you view everything. Gratitude changes your perspective from lack to abundance, from complaint to appreciation. A grateful heart sees opportunities where others see problems, solutions where others see barriers. When you affirm gratitude, you begin the day with fullness instead of emptiness, and that energy attracts more reasons to be thankful. Consistency is the key. Doing it once in a while is not enough. Just like brushing your teeth or exercising, it's the repetition that creates lasting change. The words may feel awkward at first, even forced, but over time they become natural like second nature. The same way water carves through stone not by force but by persistence, your affirmations carve through doubt, fear, and insecurity until they reshape the way you think and act. Self-affirmation is a discipline, a commitment to speaking life over yourself every single day. It is the foundation upon which confidence is built, the fuel that drives resilience, and the compass that keeps you focused on where you're going. By affirming who you are and who you are becoming, you set the tone for the day before the world can dictate it for you. Motivation is a spark. It feels good, it lights you up, it gets you excited. But sparks fade, and if you're depending on them to carry you through, you'll never finish the race. Discipline is the engine, steady and consistent, that keeps you moving forward long after motivation has disappeared. That's why discipline outweighs motivation every single time. The people who achieve greatness, who turn dreams into reality, who finish what they start, don't rely on feeling inspired every day. They rely on the structure they've built, the habits they've repeated, the rules they've committed to following no matter what their emotions say in the moment. Motivation is unreliable. One day you wake up fired up, ready to conquer the world, and the next day you wake up tired, unmotivated, distracted. If you only act when you feel motivated, your progress will be inconsistent at best. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, doesn't care if it's raining, doesn't care if you had a long day yesterday. Discipline says, do it anyway. It's not about emotion, it's about decision. Every time you show up despite the lack of motivation, you prove to yourself that you're in control, not your feelings. That consistency builds momentum, and momentum is what separates those who talk about goals from those who achieve them. The greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the strongest leaders, all share one common trait: discipline. They didn't always wake up motivated to train, to study, to work, to lead. Many mornings they probably wanted to roll over, skip the workout, put off the hard call, avoid the uncomfortable challenge. But they understood that waiting for motivation was a trap. They acted on discipline, and discipline carried them through. Think of it this way: motivation is the invitation, but discipline is the commitment. It's easy to accept an invitation when the mood is right, but only those committed through discipline will keep showing up when the excitement wears off. Discipline also builds character because it requires sacrifice. It forces you to choose long-term reward over short-term comfort. Motivation says, do it when you feel like it. Discipline says, do it because you promised yourself you would. Every time you honor that promise, you strengthen your self-respect. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe that when you set a standard, you'll hold yourself to it. That trust is powerful because once you believe in your own consistency, nothing outside of you can shake it. You don't need external pep talks. You don't need the perfect environment. You don't need the right song or speech. You only need your decision and the discipline to back it up. There will always be distractions, temptations, and excuses. Discipline is what keeps you on track when those things show up. Without discipline, you drift. With discipline, you stay anchored. Motivation fades when adversity arrives, but discipline adapts and continues. You may not always feel like giving 100%, but discipline ensures you give something, and something is always better than nothing. Progress is made through small, consistent steps taken even when conditions are not perfect. Over time, those steps add up to massive results that motivation alone could never produce. Another important truth is that discipline creates freedom. It may sound like a paradox, but it's real. The more disciplined you are in your habits, the freer you become in your life. Discipline with your health gives you freedom in your energy. Discipline with your finances gives you freedom in your choices. Discipline with your time gives you freedom in your opportunities. Motivation won't give you that freedom because motivation is temporary. Discipline locks in the habits that produce lasting results and lasting independence. Discipline is also contagious within your life. Once you practice it in one area, it starts bleeding into others. When you prove to yourself that you can wake up early and keep a promise to exercise, it becomes easier to keep the promise to study, to work harder, to stay consistent in your relationships. You build a culture of discipline within yourself, and that culture becomes your identity. When discipline becomes who you are, not just what you do, success becomes inevitable. You don't rely on bursts of energy, you rely on the steady rhythm of showing up. Motivation may get you started, but discipline is what guarantees you finish. It is the anchor that keeps you steady when emotions shift, when circumstances change, when the journey gets hard. Discipline teaches you that the work matters more than the mood, that commitment matters more than comfort, that the process matters more than the excitement. And the beautiful thing is, discipline eventually creates its own motivation. When you see the results of staying consistent, when you feel the strength of honoring your promises, when you taste the success that comes from persistence, that itself becomes motivating. But it all begins with discipline, because without it, motivation is just noise, loud one moment, silent the next. Struggles and pressure are not the enemies we often mistake them to be. They are the very tools that shape us into who we are meant to become. Without weight, there is no muscle. Without fire, there is no steel. Without storms, there is no growth. The difficulties we face and the pressure we endure are not designed to break us, but to prepare us. They carve us, refine us, and force us to rise above what we thought we could handle. Every great achievement, every strong character, every unshakable leader has one thing in common. They went through struggles that tested them, pressured them, and forced them to discover strength they didn't even know they had. When life presses down on you, it is easy to think something is wrong, to believe you're cursed or singled out for suffering. But pressure is not punishment, it is preparation. Just like coal becomes a diamond only under intense heat and pressure, your character, your resilience, and your greatness are forged in the same way. If everything were easy, if every door opened without effort, if every goal was achieved without resistance, you would never know your true capacity. Ease and comfort might feel good in the moment, but they don't create strength. It is the struggle, the fight, the long nights, and the uphill climbs that reveal what you are truly made of. Consider how muscles grow. They don't grow by staying comfortable. They grow by being stressed, torn slightly under the strain of weight, and then rebuilt stronger than before. Life works in the exact same way. Every struggle you endure is resistance training for the soul. The pressure stretches you, the struggle challenges you, and in the rebuilding process you emerge stronger, tougher, wiser. Struggles may hurt in the moment, but they are secretly giving you endurance for the journey ahead. They are teaching you lessons comfort could never teach, equipping you with resilience comfort could never provide. Pressure also brings out focus. When everything is easy, it's natural to be lazy, to drift, to take things for granted. But when you are under pressure, when the stakes are high, when you feel the weight on your shoulders, you are forced to lock in, to focus, to give everything you have. The struggle sharpens your mind and teaches you how to prioritize what truly matters. That pressure keeps you from being distracted and pushes you to find solutions you never would have searched for otherwise. It demands growth, and in rising to meet that demand, you expand beyond your limits. Another truth about struggles is that they reveal your character. It's easy to act strong when life is simple, but the real test of strength is how you respond when everything is falling apart. Pressure exposes the cracks, but it also shows where you're solid. It shows you where you need to grow, and it shows the world who you really are. Adversity doesn't create character out of nothing, it reveals it and then refines it. You don't know the depth of your courage until fear surrounds you. You don't know the depth of your patience until you're forced to wait. You don't know the depth of your resilience until you've been knocked down again and again and still find the strength to rise. Struggles also connect you to others. When you endure hardship, you begin to understand what others are going through. The empathy you develop, the compassion you gain, the wisdom you collect, they all come from walking through struggles yourself. Pressure humbles you, teaches you that everyone is fighting battles, and reminds you that strength isn't only about personal gain but about lifting others as you rise. The people who inspire us most are rarely the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who carried heavy burdens, faced impossible odds, and kept going. Their stories resonate because struggle is universal, pressure is universal, and strength built through them becomes an example to everyone watching. The beauty of struggles and pressure is that they don't just prepare you for one moment, they prepare you for life. Every time you overcome one challenge, you expand your belief in yourself. You gain proof that you can endure, that you can persevere, that you can survive difficulty and still move forward. That confidence becomes fuel for the next challenge, the next storm, the next test. The more you endure, the less afraid you are of pressure, because you know it won't destroy you. It will develop you. You stop running from struggle and start embracing it as part of the process. Life's weight is heavy, but it is purposeful. Every struggle has something to teach. Every pressure has something to give. Every hardship has strength hidden inside it. When you face them with the right perspective, you stop seeing them as enemies and start seeing them as allies. Because in the end, it is not comfort that builds greatness. It is not ease that makes you strong. It is the struggle, the pressure, the fight, the resistance. Those are the things that transform you into someone who cannot be broken. Failure is one of the most misunderstood parts of life. Most people see it as a full stop, the end of the road, a sign that they are not good enough or that their dreams are out of reach. But the truth is, Failure is never final unless you choose to stop. It is not a wall meant to keep you out. It is a detour meant to redirect you. It is feedback, not finality. Every person who has accomplished something significant has tasted failure many times, and what set them apart was their ability to rise after falling, to learn instead of surrender, to see failure not as the end of their story, but as a crucial chapter within it. Failure is the greatest teacher life has to offer. Success feels good, but it doesn't always teach you much. Failure, on the other hand, exposes your weaknesses, highlights your blind spots, and forces you to grow in ways success never could. Every mistake carries within it a lesson, and those lessons are what prepare you for the next step. Without those lessons, success would collapse under the weight of your inexperience. Failure builds wisdom. It makes you sharper, smarter, and more prepared. Each time you fail, you are gathering tools for the future, tools you would never possess if the road were smooth and easy. When you fail, it is tempting to see yourself as a failure, but that is the trap. Failing at something does not define you. What defines you is your response. You can allow failure to paralyze you, or you can allow it to propel you. One mindset says, "This is the end," while the other says, "This is the beginning of something new." The difference between the people who succeed and the people who stay stuck is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to let failure have the final word. Greatness is built not by avoiding failure, but by refusing to quit after it. History is filled with examples of people who failed repeatedly before they broke through. Inventors who tried hundreds of prototypes before their idea worked. Authors who faced rejection after rejection before one publisher finally said yes. Athletes who lost more times than they won before they became champions. If they had taken failure as the end, the world would never have known their names, their stories, their contributions. The truth is, every success story is littered with failure, but we only see the highlight reel. We don't always see the countless setbacks, the sleepless nights, the broken attempts. Yet those failures are the very foundation upon which success was built. Failure also builds resilience. It forces you to toughen up, to endure, to keep going when nothing seems to work. Resilience is not built by comfort, it is built by resistance. Every time you fail and rise again, you are training yourself to be unshakable. Life will never stop throwing challenges at you, and resilience is the armor you carry into every battle. Failure is the weight that strengthens your spirit. Just as lifting heavy resistance builds physical strength, lifting the weight of failure builds inner strength. You learn not to crumble under pressure, but to stand taller with every setback. Another important truth about failure is that it often clears the path. Sometimes what feels like failure is simply redirection. A closed door might sting, but it can lead you to a better one you never would have found otherwise. That job you didn't get, that opportunity that fell apart, that relationship that didn't last. All of those failures may be guiding you toward the path you were truly meant to walk. Failure has a way of stripping away illusions and forcing you to search deeper, to pivot, to realign with something greater. What feels like loss in the moment can later reveal itself as protection or preparation. The fear of failure is often worse than failure itself. Many people never start because they are terrified of failing, not realizing that failure is part of the process. You cannot learn to walk without stumbling. You cannot learn to win without losing. You cannot create something meaningful without risking it not working. The courage to try in the face of possible failure is what sets you apart. And once you fail and realize you survived, you understand that failure is not the monster you imagined. It cannot destroy you unless you surrender to it. Failure is not the end, it is the middle of the story. It is the proving ground where resilience is built, lessons are learned, and character is forged. It is the pause before the breakthrough, the struggle before the victory. The people who go the farthest in life are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who rise again and again, refusing to let failure define them. Failure will visit everyone, but only those who see it as a stepping stone will discover how powerful it truly is. Every failure carries within it the seed of success, and it blooms only for those who refuse to stop planting. Victory is not something that suddenly appears the moment you cross a finish line, sign a contract, or hold a trophy in your hands. Those things are simply the evidence of a victory that was already won long before anyone else could see it. True victory begins in the mind. It is a decision, a belief, a posture you choose to carry every single day regardless of your circumstances. The event, the moment of recognition, is just the final chapter of a story that was already written through discipline, perseverance, and an unshakable mindset. That's why some people appear victorious even before they achieve their goals. because victory for them is not tied to the outcome, but to the decision that they will not be defeated along the way. Victory is a mindset because the greatest battles are fought internally long before they are ever fought externally. You can have talent, resources, and opportunity, but if your mind is weak, you will quit when resistance shows up. On the other hand, you can lack advantages, start from behind, and face obstacles at every step, but if your mind is strong, you will keep going until you find a way. The mindset of victory says, no matter what comes against me, I will not stop until I win. That determination creates endurance, and endurance creates results. The event is just the visible reward for the invisible mental war you've already won. Many people chase victory as if it is something outside of them, as if it's hidden in a trophy case or waiting at the end of some race. But victory is not outside, it starts inside. It begins the moment you wake up and decide that today you will not let excuses run your life. It begins when you choose discipline over comfort, when you decide that quitting is not an option, when you refuse to let setbacks shake your belief in where you are going. The mindset of victory is built in those small, quiet choices long before the world applauds you. Those who wait for the event to feel victorious never last, but those who live with the mindset of victory carry it every day, with or without recognition. This mindset also changes how you view setbacks. To someone who believes victory is only an event, a loss feels like the end. But to someone who carries victory in their mind, a loss is simply part of the process. They don't measure themselves by the scoreboard alone, but by their commitment to keep showing up, to keep fighting, to keep improving. Victory for them is not, I never lose, but I never quit. That perspective transforms failures into lessons and obstacles into training grounds. With that mindset, even when the outcome doesn't go your way, you are still winning because you are growing stronger, sharper, and more prepared for the future. Victory as a mindset also removes the pressure of comparison. When you believe victory is an event, you constantly measure yourself against others. Who has achieved more, who is further ahead, who is being celebrated. But when you see victory as a mindset, your focus shifts inward. It becomes about being better than you were yesterday, about honoring your own process, about staying true to your journey. You stop worrying about how fast someone else is running because you understand that the only race that matters is the one within yourself. That freedom allows you to pour all your energy into your own growth instead of wasting it on comparison. Living with the mindset of victory also changes your daily habits. You don't wait until the big moment to start acting like a winner. You carry yourself like one in the smallest details. The way you train, the way you prepare, the way you speak to yourself, the way you carry yourself in silence, all of these are shaped by your decision to already live victorious. Winners are not born in the spotlight. They are built in the dark, where no one is watching, where it's just discipline, consistency, and a mindset that refuses to lose. By the time the event comes, they've already won because they've been living as victors all along. Victory is not a finish line. It is a way of thinking. It is a choice to embrace resilience, to honor discipline, to carry confidence even in struggle, and to refuse surrender no matter the cost. Those who wait for the event to define them never feel satisfied, but those who carry victory in their mind walk with strength every single day. They don't wait for the world to crown them. They've already crowned themselves through their mindset, and eventually, the world simply catches up to what they've known all along.